everyone. I'm Mark Womack, Sports Information Director at Cedarville University, and welcome to the first ever video edition of Yellow Jacket Insider. I'm joined by Cedarville's head basketball coach, Pat Estep. Pat, let's recap the last two games. Finally got back at home after playing 11 consecutive games on the road and played Notre Dame, won by 15. Give me a brief recap on that game.
It was definitely good to get back home and play in front of our home crowd. We actually had a pretty good crowd that night. I think to some degree, I thought our guys maybe came out a little bit flat in that game. We started, Notre Dame jumped on us from the get-go. Right. I think part of that is you think that the emotional readiness you got to have to play a game kind of is going to happen on its own when you're playing at home versus being on the road. And plus, just being gone for so long, it's just a different way to get ready. You're not by yourself as much, more people pulling at you throughout the day. So it took us a little while to get started, but and they're good. Kevin does a great job coaching them. Those kids competed hard. We had a size advantage without Dumermuth in there that we were able to take advantage of at times, and our guys bounced back. Really started, the key to that game was the way we started the second half, and that really put the game away for us. So we're preaching to our guys just consistently about how you have to finish the first half well. The best teams finish the first half well and start the second half well. We're getting half of that. We're not quite finished in the first half like we'd like to, but we've started the second half well. Definitely in that game we did, and that's probably what gave us the outcome we had.
Right.
So.
Got a great game from your backcourt in that contest. Zach Brown, career-high 21 points, and then you had Austin Foote back in the lineup. I think he had 17. Yeah,
it was definitely good to get Austin back, especially in a game where, Kevin's going to mix up his defenses. We're going to see a lot more zone than we're used to seeing. So when you can get your two best perimeter shooters out on the floor, and then we have other guys that can knock down threes as well, we are definitely a tough team to zone because we can score inside and out. And that game we shot phenomenally well from three. So it really made it tough. I think when they went zone, we were able to knock down some shots. And having Zach's starting to really play well. I think he's getting his confidence back. He's doing a better job managing our team as a point guard, and we have him stepping up and scoring in a greater role. And then you had Austin, who's really can just score in bunches. Right. That gives us another punch outside. So
now your last game at home against Miami Middletown, they brought a few new wrinkles in an opponent. You won by 16, but it was the big guys that did the damage.
Yeah, we knew we would have an advantage there. But sometimes that can be a disadvantage on the defensive end, which is what we saw actually in our last two games. Brian got in foul trouble trying to guard guys that are facing up a lot more. So that gave us some trouble, but they did a great job. Brian still scored. I think he had 16 and maybe 16 minutes or something. And Zimmy played another great game. He's really the same as Zach. I think they're starting to get their confidence back. They're really starting to get a feel for the guys around them that they didn't have because they were transfers. And that's the makeup of our team. On a given night, not only does our opponent not know who's going to score, I don't know who's going to score. And that's the fun part about coaching these guys. They're unselfish. They really don't care who gets the glory, and they'll go to whoever's hot or wherever we have the best matchup, and they did that, against Miami Middletown. We just pounded it inside on them. So.
Let's preview the next two games, Pat. First, start up with Walsh. You head there on Saturday to play them. Of course, they've had some injury trouble too, but what do you expect?
Well, I expect it to be a phenomenal game. They always are. I reminded our guys that they beat us all 3 times last year in the locker room. So I think we're ready for that game. Jeff does a great job coaching them. They're always a top-notch team. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. With Kornowski out, it definitely hinders them a little bit maybe in the post, but they're still very athletic. They've got good size. They rebound the ball probably as well as anybody we play. And Jeff does some good things coaching them where they get the shots that they want. So I expect it to be a game that's going to come down to the wire. I hope when you go on the road, that's what you're hoping for against a really good team. Can you get that thing down to the last couple of possessions so we have a chance to win the game? But we're going to have to ratchet up some things. We're going to have to defend better than we have been. We're going to have to rebound better than we have been, and keep taking care of the ball, and getting each other shots. When we do those things, we're pretty good. So.
Before we talk to you again, in this fashion, you'll have Rio Grande at home. Ken French still there as the head coach. What would you typically expect from them?
They're going to play hard. They're going to play as hard as anybody we play. They're physical. And they're better. I think they're more athletic maybe than they have been the last couple of years. They've got a couple wins in one of the probably the toughest NAIA conference in the country. And they got a couple good wins in that conference, playing ranked teams tough. So that'll be another battle. I hope, thankfully we have Walsh, so our minds will just be on Walsh and not the next game. But it'll be a tough game. They're pretty good, and they're playing a lot better right now than they were even at the beginning of the year. And they're playing with more confidence, I think, as well. And then you compound that with coming off of probably one of our biggest rivals over the last few years. That'll be definitely a tough matchup for us. So.
Okay, he's Pat Estep. I'm Mark Womack. That's the latest on Cedarville University basketball. Thanks for watching Yellow Jacket Insider.